The rain didn't fall. It attacked. Sheets of water slammed against the pavement outside St. Jude Medical Center, turning the hospital driveway into a blur of headlights and reflections as Alyssa Carter pushed through the sliding doors. Her dark green scrubs clung to her skin, damp with sweat and humidity, the fabric heavy against a body that had nothing left to give. 12 hours. 2 trauma codes. 1 patient she couldn't save. Her feet ached with a deep, bone-level exhaustion that pulsed with every step. The fluorescent lights she'd worked under since before dawn still burned behind her eyes, leaving ghostly afterimages every time she blinked. All she wanted was to go home. Her phone buzzed. Ride confirmed, black vehicle pickup zone. Good. She didn't look up. She didn't double-check the license plate. She didn't notice how quiet the street had become. Alyssa pulled her jacket over her head and ran, sneakers splashing through puddles that soaked through instantly. A black BMW Ghost idled near the curb, engine humming low, patient, expensive. She yanked open the back door and collapsed inside. Warmth wrapped around her immediately. Leather seats heated smooth. She exhaled a shaky breath of relief. Maple Heights, she murmured, the apartment complex on the corner. The door closed behind her with a solid, mechanical sound. Too solid. She barely registered it. Her body was already shutting down. The car smelled faintly of sandalwood and something darker she couldn't quite place. The interior lighting was dim, intentionally soft, and the steady hum of the engine blended perfectly with the relentless drumming of rain against the roof. She leaned back. For the first time all day, she let herself stop. Alyssa fumbled in her bag for her earbuds, her fingers clumsy with exhaustion. She didn't notice the tinted glass partition separating the front and back seats. Didn't notice the driver stiffen. Didn't notice the man sitting beside her. Her head tipped to the side. And before another coherent thought could form, Alyssa Carter fell asleep. Kang Junseok had survived 3 assassination attempts before his 30th birthday. He had watched men beg for mercy in 3 different languages. He had negotiated deals that collapsed companies and erased rivals from the boardrooms of 2 continents. He was not easily surprised. And yet, a woman in hospital scrubs had just thrown herself into his BMW Ghost, given an address like he was her personal chauffeur, and fallen asleep against his shoulder. He froze. His hand hovered instinctively near the weapon concealed beneath his jacket, muscles coiled, ready. Then nothing happened. Her breathing slowed, deepened. Real sleep. In the driver's seat, Park Min-yi had gone rigid, eyes flicking to the rearview mirror in silent alarm. "Sir," he whispered in Korean, "say the word." Junseok didn't answer. He looked down at the woman leaning against him. She was young, mid-20s maybe. Her dark skin glowed softly even in the low light, exhaustion etched beneath her eyes in a way that spoke of long nights and impossible expectations. A hospital ID badge hung from her scrubs. Registered nurse, St. Jude Medical Center. There was a faint stain on her sleeve. Blood. Not fresh. Not threatening. Just real. "She's not armed," Min-yi murmured. "I know," Junseok replied quietly. He studied her face, the way her fingers curled instinctively around her bag, as if afraid someone might take it even in her dreams. "Not a spy. Not bait. Just tired." "Drive," Junseok said. "Where?" "Around the block." Min-yi hesitated. "Sir." Slowly. The BMW Ghost pulled away from the curb, tires slicing through rainwater as the hospital lights faded behind them. The woman shifted, murmuring something unintelligible, and settled more firmly against Junseok's arm. He didn't move. He should wake her. He should demand answers. He should end this inconvenience immediately. Instead, he sat perfectly still, watching her sleep like she wasn't resting against one of the most dangerous men in the city. Minutes passed. Then more. Junseok silenced his phone when it buzzed. His contact could wait. Curiosity was a more dangerous distraction than anger. Alyssa woke slowly. Too slowly. The first thing she noticed was warmth. The second was motion. The third was the unmistakable realization that the shoulder her head rested on did not belong to anyone she knew. Her eyes flew open. She jerked upright with a gasp, heart slamming against her ribs so hard it hurt. Oh my God! The man beside her watched her calmly, dark eyes unreadable, his expression carved from stone. He was close enough that she could see the sharp lines of his face, the controlled stillness of his posture. Beautiful, in a way that made her stomach twist. "I'm so sorry," she blurted out. "I thought this was my Uber. I was exhausted, I didn't even." She stopped. The interior wasn't right. Too quiet, too refined, too deliberately private. "This isn't my Uber," she whispered. "No," the man said, "it is." The car was still moving. Panic flared, sharp and immediate, but Alyssa forced herself to breathe. Panic never helped in emergencies. She learned that the hard way. "Who are you?" she asked, proud of how steady her voice sounded. "And where are we going?" The man tilted his head slightly, studying her. "You have been asleep for 45 minutes, he said. "I was beginning to think you might never wake up." Her stomach dropped. "You let me sleep." "Yes." "Why?" "If I wanted to hurt you," Junseok replied calmly, "you would already be dead." Her blood ran cold. He pulled a phone from his jacket and glanced at the screen. "You said Maple Heights," he continued. "Correct." She nodded mutely. He spoke quietly in Korean, and the BMW ghost turned, heading toward a part of the city she finally recognized. "You're taking me home?" she asked. It seems like the simplest solution. The car slowed. Stopped. Alyssa didn't hesitate. She scrambled out onto the wet sidewalk, heart racing, lungs burning, rain soaking through her scrubs all over again. "Thank you," she said, then winced. "For not, you know." "Be more careful," Junseok said softly. "The next car might not be so forgiving." The door closed. The BMW ghost disappeared into the rain-soaked American night. Alyssa stood there shaking, trying to convince herself it had all been some kind of exhaustion-induced hallucination. Then she turned toward her building, already certain she would never forget the man in the wrong car. 3 days passed. Alyssa Carter tried to forget. She told herself the man in the BMW ghost had been nothing more than an exhaustion-induced anomaly, her brain misfiring after too many hours under fluorescent lights and too little sleep. She went to work. She charted vitals. She smiled at patients who didn't know her hands still shook sometimes when the night grew quiet. She didn't tell anyone. Not her coworker who would have panicked. Not her mother who would have demanded she move home. Not even her journal. Some stories felt dangerous just to say out loud. By the 4th night, the memory had almost softened at the edges. Almost. Rain misted the parking lot outside St. Jude Medical Center as Alyssa walked toward the pickup zone, phone glowing in her hand. She checked the rideshare app twice this time. Silver Honda Accord. License plate matched. Good. She took 2 steps toward it. Then a familiar engine purred behind her. Low, smooth, expensive. Her body reacted before her mind did. A black BMW ghost rolled to stop at the curb directly in front of her. Her heart stuttered. The rear window slid down. It wasn't the man from the back seat. It was the driver. Same sharp posture, same unreadable eyes. Miss Carter, Park Min-yi said calmly. Ice slid down her spine. Yes, she asked, even though every instinct told her not to answer. Mr. Kang would like to speak with you. Her grip tightened on her phone. I don't know any Mr. Kang. A quiet voice came from the back seat. You know me. Alyssa's breath caught. Kang Jun-seok leaned forward just enough for his face to emerge from the shadows. Same composed expression. Same eyes that felt like they saw too much and revealed nothing. I promise, he added mildly, I won't let you fall asleep this time. Every rational thought screamed at her to walk away. Her actual ride idled 10 feet behind the BMW Ghost, its driver already glancing impatiently at the curb. I can't, Alyssa said. I have a ride. Cancel it, Jun-seok replied. It wasn't a command. That somehow made it worse. I only need 5 minutes of your time. I don't owe you anything, she said. Jun-seok studied her like she'd said something interesting. No, he agreed, you don't. Then he tilted his head slightly. But someone has been following you since the night we met. Her stomach dropped. That's not funny. I don't joke about inefficient threats, he said. She hesitated. That hesitation was all it took. The BMW's rear door opened. The interior looked exactly the same. Leather, soft lighting, silence that felt intentional. Alyssa slid into the seat, heart pounding as the door closed behind her. The lock engaged with a soft click. She hated herself for noticing. Start talking, she said, now. The BMW Ghost pulled away from the hospital. After you left, Jun-seok said, someone reviewed surveillance footage from that night. Her chest tightened. At the hospital. No, he replied, across the street. He pulled out his phone and turned the screen toward her. A photo. Her. Running through the rain toward his car. Another swipe. Her apartment building. Lights on. Time stamped. Her throat went dry. I didn't see anything, she whispered. I know, Jun-seok said, which is why you're still breathing. That didn't comfort her. Then why are you showing me this? She demanded. Because the men watching you believe you matter, he said, and belief is more dangerous than truth. I can make this stop, Jun-seok continued, tonight. Alyssa shook her head. I don't want protection, I want distance. He considered that. Distance only works when people respect boundaries, he said. They don't. So what, she snapped, I hide with you. You stay visible to me, he corrected, until they lose interest. Her voice cracked. That's not a choice. It is, Jun-seok replied calmly. You just don't like the options. The BMW slowed at a red light. Her door was unlocked. She noticed. He noticed her noticing. Neither moved. You're testing me, she said. Yes, he admitted. The light turned green. The car moved. Alyssa didn't open the door. Something settled in Jun-seok's expression. Not relief. Commitment. The BMW stopped outside her apartment building. This is as far as I go, Jun-seok said. She stared at him. You're just letting me leave. For now. For now, she echoed. His eyes darkened slightly. Be careful tonight, he said, and if you see the same car twice. He didn't finish the sentence. He didn't need to. Alyssa stepped out into the rain, heart racing as the BMW Ghost pulled away. Her phone buzzed. An unknown number. You should have gotten in the first car. She stopped breathing. From down the street, the BMW Ghost's brake lights flared red. Slowly, deliberately, Jun-seok had already turned around. Was getting back into the BMW Ghost a mistake, or was walking away worse? The BMW Ghost didn't slow down. Alyssa stared at the message glowing on her phone, her pulse thundering so loud she was sure Junseok could hear it. You should have gotten in the first car. Her fingers went numb. She looked up. Kang Junseok was already dialing, his voice calm and precise, like this was a routine inconvenience instead of a warning shot. Yes, he said, confirmed. A pause. No, not yet. He ended the call and turned to her. They were close enough to see your hesitation, he said. That means we don't go back to your apartment. Alyssa's stomach dropped. Pull over. That won't help, Junseok replied. You said I could leave. I said you could survive, he corrected. Those are not the same thing. The city thinned around them. Downtown lights gave way to wider streets, darker corners, stretches of road Alyssa didn't recognize. Her reflection in the window looked pale and unreal, like someone else entirely. This is because of you, she said. If I never got into your car. They would have found someone else, Junseok interrupted. You were convenient, that's all. That doesn't make me feel better. It shouldn't. The gate appeared without warning. Tall, silent, sliding open before the BMW even stopped. Alyssa felt the shift immediately, the moment normal life ended and something colder took its place. The house sat far back from the road, modern and unwelcoming. No lights in the windows, no sign anyone lived there. This isn't a hotel, she said. No, Junseok agreed, it's safer. Park Min-yi cut the engine and stepped out first, scanning the darkness before opening Alyssa's door. The air smelled different here, cleaner, emptier. Inside, the house was immaculate in a way that felt intentional. No personal photos, no clutter, just wide spaces and carefully chosen furniture that looked more strategic than comfortable. You stay here, Alyssa asked. I wait here, Junseok replied. That distinction unsettled her more than she expected. You can leave, he said once the door closed behind them. Her shoulders loosened a fraction, finally. But not alone. She laughed once, sharp and humorless. So I can't leave. You can, he said evenly, just not without me knowing where you are. That's control. That's reality. Alyssa crossed her arms. You don't get to rewrite my life because you're powerful. Junseok stepped closer, not threatening, not touching, just close enough that she felt his presence press in around her. You confuse safety with comfort, he said quietly. Her jaw tightened, and you confuse protection with ownership. Something flickered in his eyes. Gone just as fast. I need your phone, Junseok said. No. I'm not asking. That's my life, she snapped. You don't get to strip it away because you're scared. He studied her for a long moment. I'm not scared, he said. I'm precise. Silence stretched between them, thick and heavy. Slowly, angrily, Alyssa held out her phone. This was the moment everything shifted. Junseok scrolled once. Then stopped. Then frowned. You didn't tell anyone, he said. I said I wouldn't. No, he corrected. You didn't even write it down. He looked at her differently now, not softer, not kinder. More focused. That was smart, he said. That was survival, she replied. They're not watching you, Junseok said finally. They're watching me through you. Alyssa's chest tightened. So what am I to you? He didn't answer right away. Leverage, he said at last. The word landed hard. For them, he added, and now for me. She stared at him. You're honest about it. I find lies inefficient. A knock echoed through the house. 3 sharp taps. Controlled. Park Min-yi's voice came through the intercom. Sir, movement on the perimeter. Alyssa's heart slammed against her ribs. Here. Yes, Junseok said. He reached for the weapon at his side, movement smooth, practiced. Then he stopped. looked at her, and made a decision that changed everything. "Go upstairs," he said. "No," Alyssa replied immediately. "I'm not hiding. You'll be safer." "That's not what this is about," she said. "You don't want me safe, you want me contained." His jaw tightened. Another knock, louder this time. "Closer." "If they see you," Junseok said, his voice low and dangerous, "they won't stop." Alyssa met his eyes, fear and defiance colliding in her chest. "Neither will you," she said. The house held its breath. And somewhere outside, someone smiled. The power went out without warning. No flicker. No hesitation. 1 second the house was lit in calm, controlled symmetry, and the next it was swallowed by darkness, so complete Alyssa felt it in her chest before her eyes caught up. Her breath stuttered. "Don't move," Junseok said instantly. His voice wasn't raised. It didn't need to be. Something in its tone told her this wasn't fear. It was readiness. Before Alyssa could ask what was happening, a sharp crack echoed from the far side of the house. Glass shattered, the sound slicing through the dark like a blade. She screamed. Junseok moved at the same time, gripping her arm and pulling her back against the wall, his body turning so completely between her and the open space that she couldn't see past him. "Down," he said. She slid, legs folding beneath her as her back hit the floor. Her heart was pounding so hard, she thought it might give her away. Another crack closer. Not loud. Controlled. Alyssa knew that sound. She worked trauma. She knew exactly what it meant. "No," she whispered. "No, no, no." Park Min-yee's voice came through the intercom, tight and clipped. "Perimeter breach, at least 2, west side." Junseok exhaled once. Slow. Measured. "They're early," he said. That was the first time she heard something close to regret. "Upstairs," he told her, "now." "I'm not leaving you," Alyssa said without thinking. Junseok looked at her. Really looked. And for a fraction of a second, something dangerous passed between them. Then he shook his head. "That's not bravery," he said. "That's liability." He hauled her up by the arm and pushed her toward the hallway. They didn't make it 3 steps. A shadow moved at the edge of the room. Junseok stopped. Everything stopped. There was a single sound. Not loud. Not dramatic. Final. The shadow dropped out of sight. Alyssa felt it more than she heard it, the sudden absence, the way the air shifted like something had been erased. Her knees gave out. Junseok caught her before she hit the ground, his hand gripping her shoulder hard enough to steady her. "I didn't," her voice broke. "I didn't agree to this." "I know," he said quietly. That made it worse. The backup generator kicked in, lights flooding the room with harsh white brightness that felt cruel in its timing. Alyssa's eyes betrayed her. They slid past Junseok to the floor near the doorway. There was blood. Not much. Just enough. Her stomach twisted violently. "You killed him," she said. "Yes." No apology. No justification. "For me," she whispered. Junseok was silent for a moment. Then he said, "For what they would have done to you." She shoved him away. "Don't," she snapped. "Don't make this about me." "You are the reason," he said, "whether you want to be or not." Tears blurred her vision. "I was a nurse yesterday." "You still are." "No," she said, shaking her head. "Nurses don't leave bodies on the floor." Junseok looked toward the doorway. "They leave survivors," he said. The words didn't comfort her. They terrified her. Min-yee appeared in the doorway, face tight. "Sir." The second one retreated. A pause. "But they left something." He held up a phone. "Unlocked." On the screen was a photo. Alyssa, standing in the living room, taken minutes ago. Her blood ran cold. They weren't here to take you, Junseok said slowly. Then why come? She asked. His jaw tightened. To prove they could reach you. Alyssa backed away until her shoulders hit the wall. I'm leaving, she said. Junseok didn't stop her. Didn't grab her. Didn't raise his voice. If you walk out that door, he said quietly, I won't be able to protect you anymore. She laughed once hollow. You call this protection? Yes, he said, because you're still breathing. She looked at the blood. At the house. At the man who had crossed a line for her that could never be uncrossed. And if I stay, she asked. Junseok met her eyes. Then you stop pretending this world won't touch you, he said. And I stop pretending I can keep it from changing you. Silence filled the room. Alyssa closed her eyes. And for the first time since the rain-soaked night at the hospital, she understood the cost. Alyssa didn't sleep. She lay on the edge of the bed in the upstairs room, fully dressed, shoes still on, hands folded tightly in her lap like she was waiting for instructions that never came. The room was too clean, too quiet. It smelled faintly of antiseptic, which made her chest tighten every time she breathed in. She kept seeing the blood. Not the body. Not the gun. Just the way the stain had spread, slow, inevitable, like something she should have stopped but couldn't. A soft knock came at the door. She flinched. It's me, Junseok said. She didn't answer. After a moment, the door opened anyway. He stayed near the threshold, giving her space she hadn't asked for but desperately needed. The light from the hallway framed him in sharp contrast, controlled, composed, untouched by what had happened downstairs. You're safe, he said quietly. Alyssa laughed once, a broken sound. That's what people say when they don't know what else to say. Junseok didn't argue. He stepped inside and placed a glass of water on the nightstand, then another, 2 pills beside it. For shock, he said, not sedatives. She eyed them warily. You expect me to trust you? No, he replied, I expect you to function. That hurt more than if he'd been gentle. Downstairs, the house had already begun to erase itself. Park Min-yi moved through the rooms with quiet efficiency, gloves on, voice low as he spoke into his headset. The body was gone, the glass replaced. By morning, there would be no sign that anyone had crossed the perimeter at all. Alyssa didn't know that yet. She only knew the silence felt wrong. How long do I stay here? She asked. Junseok didn't answer immediately. Until you stop replaying it every time you blink, he said finally, or until they stop circling. And if neither happens, then we adapt. She turned toward him sharply. I don't want to adapt to this. You already are. Later, when exhaustion finally dragged her under, it wasn't rest that found her. It was memory. The crack of the shot. The weight of Junseok's hand on her shoulder. The way his voice never shook. She woke with a gasp, heart racing, throat raw. Junseok was there, sitting in the chair across the room, watching. How long have you been there? She asked hoarsely. Long enough, he said. Did you think about leaving? Yes. Why didn't you? He considered the question. Because you didn't ask me to, he said. That answer unsettled her more than any other. The next morning came without sunlight. Security glass filtered the outside world into something pale and distant. Alyssa stood at the window, arms wrapped around herself, watching nothing in particular. Her phone buzzed on the dresser. She jumped. Junseok picked it up before she could reach it. Don't, she snapped. He paused, looked at her, then handed it back. No message. Just a missed call from work. Her throat tightened. They're going to wonder where I am. I've already handled it, he said. What does that mean? You're on emergency leave. I didn't ask for that. You needed it. You decided that, she said, again. Silence stretched between them. You saved my life, she continued quietly, but you don't get to replace it. Junseok met her gaze. That's the difference between us, he said. I don't save things I can't control. The words landed hard. Too honest. By afternoon, something else had crept in beneath the fear. Dependence. She noticed it when she followed his movements with her eyes, when the quiet felt unbearable unless she could hear his footsteps somewhere nearby, when she felt calmer knowing he was awake. That scared her more than the gunshot. You're doing this on purpose, she said suddenly. Junseok looked up from his phone. Doing what? Making me rely on you. He didn't deny it. I'm making sure you survive, he said. That's not the same thing. No, he agreed, but it's close enough. That night, she stood at the top of the stairs, looking down into the house that no longer felt temporary. What happens when this is over? She asked. Junseok stopped beside her. When this is over, he said, you'll never be invisible again. Her chest tightened. And you? He looked at her then, really looked. I'll still be who I was, he said. You'll be the one who changed. Alyssa swallowed. She understood then what the real danger was. Not the men outside. Not the blood on the floor. But the fact that part of her didn't want to leave anymore. And that Junseok knew it.